Oh man, you are busy working for the world, and the world is busy trying to turn you out. Life comes to pass, yet death is very much closer. Without knowledge, action is useless, and knowledge without action is futile. The more knowledge you have, the greater will be your fear of Allah. If an ignorant person is attracted by the things of the world, that is bad. But if a learned person is thus attracted, it is worse. Allah will help him who moves in the way of Allah. The greatest truth is honesty, and the greatest falsehood is dishonesty. It is a matter of shame that in the morning the birds should be awake earlier than you. If you expect the blessings of God, be kind to His people. Cursed is the man who dies, but the evil done by him survives. Solitude is better than the society of evil persons. There is greatness in the fear of God, contentment in faith of God, and honor in humility. There is no harm in patience, and no profit in lamentation. Death is easier to bear than that which precedes it, and more severe than that which comes after it. Remember the death of the Apostle of God, and your sorrow will be lessened. When knowledge is limited, it leads to folly. When knowledge exceeds a certain limit, it leads to exploitation. Death is the easiest of all things after it, and the hardest of all things before it. Do not follow vain desires, for verily, he who prospers is preserved from lust, greed and anger. He who builds a masjid in the way of Allah, God will build a house for him in the paradise. Good actions are a guard against the blows of adversity. It is bad for a young man to sin, but it is worse for an old man to sin. When you seek advice, do not withhold any facts from the person whose advice you seek. The true believer is rewarded in everything, even in affliction. He who fears to weep should learn to be kind to those who weep. You should not quarrel with your neighbor, for he will remain where he is, but your high-handedness will become the talk of the people. When you advise any person, you should be guided by the fear of God. Do not get elated at any victory, for all such victory is subject to the will of God. He who prays 5 times a day is in the protection of God, and he who is protected by God cannot be harmed by anyone. Have an earnestness for death, and you will have life. Run away from greatness, and greatness will follow you. Our abode in this world is transitory. Our life therein is but alone. Our breaths are numbered, and our indolence is manifest. He who avoids complaint invites happiness. If you want to control other people, First control yourself. Do not deceive or be faithless even with your enemy. Use the same measure for selling that you use for purchasing. Jihad is obligatory for the Muslims. To fight against the infidels is jihad, but to fight against your evil self is greater jihad. God blesses him who helps his brother. Muslims should live like brothers. He who is not impressed by sound advice lacks faith. Youth is not restored by the dyeing of your hair. Maybe a thing that you do not like is really in your interest. It is possible that a thing that you may desire may be against your interest. Every day, nay every moment, try to do some good deed. Be good to others, that will protect you against evil. Piety is the most solid goodness, and the vilest of what is evil is vice. In the matter of justice, all should be equal in your eyes. Pride in the case of a rich man is bad, but pride in the case of a poor man is worse. Follow the way of life, which the Holy Prophet has shown you, for verily, that is the right path. He who indulges in falsehood will find the paths of paradise shut to him. Intentions count in your actions. He should know that his heart is empty of faith, when good advice has no avail upon him. Taking pains to remove the pains of others is the true essence of generosity. When an honorable person obtains knowledge, it humbles him, and when a legislator obtains knowledge, he becomes proud. Beware of pride, because you will be returning to the earth, and your body will be eaten up by the worms. Good conduct is when one does not require reward in exchange for a good deed. I have been given authority over you, and I am not the best of you. If I do well, help me, and if I do wrong, set me right. A man who is shy and modest is an amazing character, but a woman who is shy and modest is beyond amazing. One of the worst sins is a person taking his sins lightly. Do not cut down a fruit-bearing tree. Speaking less is wisdom. Eating less is healthy. Sleeping less is worship. Socializing less is the recipe for safety. Do not follow vain desires, for verily, he who prospers is preserved from lust, greed, and anger. Justice and fairness are good, nay, it is better. There is greatness in the fear of God, contentment in faith of God, and honor in humility,